Hello and welcome to our podcast, the Unstoppable Pigeon Podcast. I am Matt.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Russell.
And I have a bone to pick. Are you ready for it?
Right out the gate.
Sure.
Right, yep. We got a fight and we're going to talk about it. This is, for sure, an instance of an argument that I am convinced is not going to make sense to anybody outside of our marriage, that being Emily and I. Not we don't have like a weird three-way marriage situation going on here.
There are no husband brothers. Brother husband.
Brother, I'd watch that show on TLC, Husband Brothers.
Then you can have the spin-off Brother Husbands.
What? Husband
Brothers,
what?
Husband Brothers and Brother Husbands.
So, well, no, I guess Sister Wives was just one dude married a lot of wives, right? So Brother Husbands
right.
is just sort of the
maybe
the 2020 version of that, where like.
Or Brother Husbands is just like a bunch of bros who were like, you know what? I'm tired of the dating scene. I'm just gonna marry my bro.
Just marry
and
each
we're
other.
We're gonna spend our days cracking cold ones.
I think that our series would be Brother Husband Brothers.
Brother Husband Brother. So is that bro? Wait a minute.
It's brothers who are also brother husbands.
Oh, I don't like that.
Well, that's what you two would be.
There's also it sounds like it's two brothers, like twin brothers, who marry like sisters.
Well, I think we can all agree that whatever it is,
it's creepy.
It would be absolutely terrible garbage entertainment, and it would be it would
a smash hit.
500 seasons, and it would get a smash hit, and our mother would watch it.
6 seasons in a movie.
6 seasons in a movie. No, the thing but we got sidetracked. I want to fight, so Jesus, I was revved up all day. I've been revved up because I was like, oh, we're gonna get right out of the gate here, and I'm gonna let loose on this. And then now that the time has come and we're recording, I have to explain this to. You
realize you're wrong?
No, I'm definitely not wrong. I'm definitely right. That's not in doubt. But I do realize that it does not make any sense to like another human being outside of the Emily and I.
Well, you're just so wrong that it also doesn't even make sense to me.
Okay. Well, I mean clearly that's not the case. So the context of this is that we are a single language household, right? We speak English, and we don't really have I speak a little bit of Spanish.
Obviously not once you hear this conversation.
Oh, shut it. Several months back, and I cannot give you the context to whatever this conversation was about, but we were trying to say phrases in Spanish, because sometimes we had discussions about
what it was. I think we were literally just talking in the car. We were actually on our way to your parents' house. I remember that. This
is an irrelevant detail of the story.
Anyhow.
She says a phrase in Spanish that I did not think was accurate. She said something. She's like, "Oh, I think that this is what this means in Spanish," and I was like, "That doesn't sound right to me." And the phrase that she said in Spanish was "for example," and "for example" in Spanish is
"por ejemplo." So
she says "por ejemplo" in Spanish, try in the context of whatever we were discussing, and I was like, Is that what it is? That doesn't sound right to me. I don't think that's what "for example" is in Spanish.
And then there was about 10 minutes of naysaying.
Okay. Factual information only, please. The 10 minutes of naysaying is your opinion. Because my opinion is only that I was like, I don't know if that's right. To which she then said, okay, Google. I gotta be careful because my phone's here. Actually, let's incorporate some technology into this show. Okay, Google. Not Google, you piece of shit. You embarrass me like this.
You're gonna have to cut this out too.
Wow.
I'm just gonna stop the recording because this is 8 minutes of absolute just the worst garbage. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ultimate Pigeon. No, this is not what this show is called. Welcome to the Unstoppable Pigeon Podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm
I'm Russell.
Emily.
Oh, we fucked it up. We fucked it up. Right out
So the other
gate.
day, Emily said to me that in Spanish, the phrase "for example" was "por ejemplo," and I didn't think that sounded right, but I, wasn't sure. And eventually, we got Google involved, and Google doesn't want to behave with me right now. But she basically used the Google command. She said, "Okay, Google, what's for example in Spanish?" To which Google, of course, replied that in Spanish, for example, is por ejemplo, which, as we have discussed, or maybe didn't. I don't know if I ended up cutting this part out, but does hit on the core tenet of any solid marriage, which is when you are proven right over the doubts of your significant other, you, to the absolute maximum degree that you possibly can, just dunk as hard as you possibly can on them for as much a length of time as can be managed, regardless of the sort of mundane nature or insignificance of the burn. So that's step one of this process. Was this this was a few months ago, right? The por ejemplo incident.
Which also has been a disadvantage in this conversation.
Well, last night we were in a conversation again about other languages. This time it was French, a language that we know even less about than Spanish. And it started when I said I used the phrase "je ne sais quoi" in conversation, which prompted Emily to ask, "What is that? What is je ne sais quoi?" And I said, "I'm pretty sure it translates to I don't know what," and it was like it's sort of used as like a kind of a phrase to put into. It's like a bougie way to say somebody has like an undescribable quality about them. And then I said that I was pretty sure that like the question why was pourquoi in French.
I believe pourquoi is but why. But why? I could be wrong.
Emily, you had a particular opinion on the pourquoi debate.
Or for what?
I think you're full of shit.
Oh, pourquoi?
Yeah, pourquoi? Why am I full of shit?
Neither of us speaks French at all.
Well, she goes...
So I thought he was just making shit up.
She goes, well, you just said that je ne sais quoi is I don't know what. So clearly, actually, what is quoi? So you're full of shit and you're a dumb donkey.
Why is quoi initially? And I was like, well, that doesn't make sense because you just said je ne sais quoi is quoi would be what in that phrase. So I'm like, why would quoi be what and why?
Regardless, there was a lot of shitting all over me and my mastery of the French language.
Literally, what I said was, I think there was not a lot of smack talk.
There was a severe degree of
I like to think that you were like, you said pourquoi, and then it just panned over to Emily, and she was wearing like a beret and had a cigarette and was like, yes, but you're a piece of shit.
I mean, that was basically what it was like. I was like,
as accordion music is playing in the background.
Yeah, I think pourquoi is why, like why.
It means French. Why. I just Googled it.
Yes. Well, you've gotten at the crux of the issue is that we got our Amazon device involved in the debate. At which point I was thoroughly vindicated in that.
No, you were not, because it didn't work.
Whether or not the Amazon device of our choosing like dictated the phrasing to me does not change the fact that pourquoi means why in French.
No,
and I'm right.
The issue that we're bringing up here was because directly after you looked it up.
Oh yeah, I forgot what we were arguing about. Now I remember.
You don't even know what the argument is.
The argument was whose burn was sicker, her burn about
mine was totally
por ejemplo, or her burn against me about por ejemplo, or my burn against her about pourquoi.
See, the reason that my burn was so much better, was because we both speak minor amounts of Spanish. So, like, you should have, and your mother's a freaking Spanish teacher. Let's, like, not leave that out.
Leave mothers out of this.
Let's not bring mothers in. Just keep it civil.
I said a phrase that you should have known what it meant in Spanish, considering your history. Anyhow, There was smack talk. There was like equal amounts of smack talking in both of these conversations, whether or not your memory fails you on it or not.
As the voice of the people, as I have been called
Voice
by
of the people.
by the
I'm
people.
not done. Also, when
shit.
I'm getting
asked
shit on.
technology to prove me right, it did not fail me.
I see my and
Your
this is my
defense
argument.
was the Google the Google responded to you, therefore you were more right.
No,
I'm
that's
more-
her. That's her defense. The Google helped me, so I'm more right. My
No.
defense is when
this conversation is not about who is more right. It's about whose burn was sicker.
Okay, again,
So her
as the
defense
voice,
is that my burn was sicker because Google helped me out. My defense was that when she said
talk
pour
over
a
my
hemplo,
3 other points for why my burn is sicker?
let me get back to
I
me
think you're just negating everything
your
else
other points
I've
are
already
incorrect.
said.
Your other points are incorrect because the reason that I say, regardless of the influence of technology on the conversation, the reason that my burn is sicker is that when she said por ejemplo meant for example in Spanish, my reaction was more like, no, I don't think so. I don't think that's right. That doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah,
It wasn't like, oh, you stupid piece of shit. You don't know what you're talking about. Like, eat shit.
That's exactly
Which
what
is
I said,
which is
Matthew.
basically what she said to me when I said pourquoi was why in French.
Your
So the
retelling of this story
reason
is
that my burn
inaccurate.
is sicker is that I was like a civil human being who does not disrespect my wife in arguments.
Oh, really?
And
You
when
mean
she
like
thought
total-
and when she
Okay,
thought I was wrong,
so-
she absolutely shit all over me
So-
immediately.
I'm gonna give a final word as
I'm
Final
actually
word.
going
as
to
the
get
voice of the
mad
people.
because your retelling of this is so inaccurate.
As the voice of the people, my voice of the people speech here will calm you, if anything. As the voice of the people, as I've been called by literally dozens
Ones
of
of
people.
ones of people.
Ones of people. Ones of people.
More than just-
Ones of people across the
There are
nation.
literally dozens of us. Dozens of us. I will say that first off, it's nice that we have these things recorded so that we can just easily reference them in the divorce proceedings. That'll be nice. And the second thing is, I think you're both very confused as to what a burn is, because none of those things you said were a burn. It was just nonsensical arguments about language and no burning and just sad domestic
I think
depression.
you're using burn in the wrong sense. Like, it's really whose win was better against the other.
Here's the thing. Neither one of those victories was deserving enough of any glory, and you both should be ashamed of yourselves. So, I think you're both the losers there, and there is no winner. Certainly
well,
the
I guess
audience is the loser.
I guess
is
the
the true
the
loser.
audience is the real loser here. The people have
Really
spoken.
me. I'm the
people
real
have
loser because I had to
spoken.
listen to
Russell's
it.
the loser. Yeah, he had to
And,
listen to the unedited version.
Yeah, I had to
I'm
listen to
gonna-
the unedited one for
You had to
39
listen to your
minutes.
We're
brother's
17
fictional
minutes in.
retelling.
Is that before or after you started the recording?
Well, we'll just see. But as of this, we're quickly approaching 18 minutes of
So
absolute.
when this goes out for people to hear and it's only 3 minutes long for them.
This
when we get to the
we might end up with like this might end up with like it'll be like my intro. I'll be like, welcome to the Unstoppable Pigeon Podcast, and then we'll say our names, and then I'll be like, all right, y'all, I'm coming in hot, or whatever it was I said, and then there's gonna be like an interjection of my voice where I'm like, hey there, Matt here. This is the edit after the fact. What I'm just gonna cut in here, as I have cut out about 18 minutes worth of just inane yelling at each other and arguing over languages that clearly none of us speak, and we're full of shit. And I'm gonna drop you right back in at Russell's verdict on the matter, and then we'll just wrap all this up in one like 2.5 minute bow and get things underway.
I apologize to everyone for having to hear the biased version of that story from Matthew.
Bum 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 bum. Let's play You News You Lose. What do you guys think of my theme song?
I think it needs to end with like, you lose, you lose.
Well,
And
There
then
may
just
be
blast
there,
the Action News theme song.
there may be singing in tonight's episode of You News You Lose.
Okay.
So, for those of us joining from home, You News You Lose is a game that is very much like Two Truths and a Lie, where I have scoured far and wide across the internet, and by that I mean, of course, making a 5-minute Google search and picking like the third result down of bizarre news headlines. I then take those bizarre news headlines and I create a series of similar sounding but fake news headlines to go along with them, and then I present them to Russell and Emily, who then have to pick out the real news headline from among my my multiple options, and the winner at the end of the round of 3 gets pigeon points, which are the fake currency that we've invented for this podcast that can be exchanged for a third-grade scholastic book fair-esque array of prizes scoured from things that I have found around my house.
Most likely literal trash.
Literal garbage. So,
As our father used to put in the Easter eggs at Easter. Just whatever he found around the house. Like a bunch of pennies put in a tissue, or a wood chip with the Easter bunny drawn on it.
well, I feel like we should do some justice. I feel like we can't do our father dirty like that on this, because it makes it sound like we grew up in like a Depression era, like boxcar of a house. That was just done because he thought it was funny.
Yeah.
And
the pennies, but it was also, I think it was toilet paper, not tissue. The toilet paper was to mask the sound of
the rattle
not
of the
being pennies when you picked it up.
Anyway,
we did get full Easter baskets of actual things. And to be fair, all these years later, I do have some of the nonsense bullshit saved, and not whatever toy I got as a child.
This is true. The diarrhea from eating all your Easter candy in one day. What was that?
What?
I was going to say, and to be fair, the toilet paper wasn't used.
The toilet paper was not used, thank God.
Well, we don't know
wouldn't that come in handy now?
Well, that's true. The diarrhea from eating all your Easter candy in one day only lasts but a moment. The wood shims that he stuck inside of our Easter eggs and drew canned squid on will last a lifetime. Here's the first headline. You news, you lose. The theme for our first set of headlines is the supernatural.
Spooky.
First headline. Man arrested for peeping claims possession by, quote, perverted poltergeist.
Solid excuse. Yeah, it wasn't me. It was the ghosts, man.
Second.
The ghosts like titties. I don't know what to tell you.
I woke up in a tree and I had binoculars and my dick out. I don't know how I got there.
I swear it was ghosts.
How am I a part of this conversation?
Well, so headline number 1, man arrested for peeping claims possession by perverted poltergeist. Headline number 2, horny ghost called Kevin spooks wife.
Spook's wife?
Spooks wife.
So does that mean that he spooked his own wife, or like somebody's wife?
The
like,
headline does not. I guess the headline does not specify whether the horny ghost. We do know that the horny ghost is called Kevin. We're not sure who the wife in this scenario is. Is it the ghost's wife? Is it? So is this a ghost spooking another ghost? Is this a ghost spooking a human? And is this human married to a ghost?
Or did
we don't know.
this lady have a husband named Kevin who died and he came back from beyond the grave to try and tap that ass?
Maybe. All we know is that his name was Kevin. He was a ghost. He was horny, and he spooked.
Which I feel like you can't be spooky
someone.
as a ghost named Kevin.
Oh, ghost named Kevin. According to this headline, you can. As long as you are horny enough, I guess. Okay, so a man arrested for peeping claims possession by perverted poltergeist. Horny ghost called Kevin spooks wife. And the final headline, a ghost has been stealing my thongs, claims Bristol woman.
Do we need to find the true one?
One of these is true, the other 2 I have made up.
I think the thongs one is the real one. Mainly because I don't think Matt would pick Bristol as a place.
That's what I was thinking too. But for the sake of Competition. I will go with the first one being true.
You think horny ghost called
I
Kevin?
want the
or-
other ones to be true.
I feel like
but I
there is a
think-
man who thinks that's a good enough excuse to like.
Oh, so Emily, you are voting for man arrested for peeping,
Yeah,
and Russell, you are voting for ghost has been stealing my thongs.
there's a man.
I want the
stupid
other ones
enough
to be
to
true,
use that
but-
as his excuse for peeping.
Okay. Well, in round 1, no points are awarded. You are both incorrect. The
No.
true
Kevin the
headline
Ghost?
is horny ghost called Kevin. Spooks
Okay, so I think
wife.
Kevin the Ghost gets the pigeon point on that.
Kevin the
Oh
ghost
my
gets awarded a pigeon point. A Northern Territory woman is convinced a horny ghost is haunting her home. Jennifer Mills Young claims the ghost, named Kevin, once tried to drag her out of bed in the middle of the night. I was asleep, she said. I woke up when someone grabbed my wrist. You can tell what kind of a quality news outlet I grabbed this article from. It says, they spelled the word thought incorrectly. I thought, hubby wants a bit of romance. When I suddenly remembered he wasn't even at home.
That sounds like a bad fan fiction line right there. Hubby wants some romance, but it was a ghost.
But it was Kevin.
It was Kevin,
It was
the horny
Kevin.
ghost.
Miss Mills Young said she could... Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's like the really fucked up version of Casper the Friendly Ghost, like his weird creepy cousin.
Casper the Friendly Ghost's
Yeah,
friend
Kevin the
from
Horny Ghost.
Kevin the Horny Ghost.
yeah, from Bible camp.
Miss Mills Young said she could feel the hand around her wrist trying to pull her up and out of bed. The moment I opened my eyes, the grip was gone and the room was empty. Quote, I yelled at Kevin that he was not welcome in my bedroom and that he couldn't come into bed with me. I told him to F off and close the door behind him. A moment later, I saw how the bedroom door slowly was closed. I jumped up and locked it. Y'all, if she's got a ghost, if this is a ghost situation, why
Why are you
is it
locking the
using the door?
Yeah. Why? Also, I'm gonna defend Kevin a little bit here. He was necessarily that horny.
No, I was wondering that too. Why is that act considered horny? Like,
I have
Trying to get her out of bed. Thing.
I have so many
Uh-huh.
questions.
Maybe there was like a carbon monoxide leak, and he's actually Kevin the hero ghost. He was trying to get her out of that room.
The questions that I have, I am left with so many more questions than I am with answers at the end of this. How do they know the ghost name is Kevin?
I think they probably just named it that.
Yeah.
That's what
As
she
it is
decided to
described here,
choose.
they have stated that the ghost name is Kevin. She said, I yelled at Kevin that he was not welcome in my bedroom and he could not come into bed with me.
I think that they probably have become familiar with this ghost in their house, and so they just gave him a name. If I
Maybe
had
one
to
time he did something spooky, and they were like, "Fuck off, Ricky the ghost," and then he was just like, "My name is Kevin," and they're like, "Oh, it's Kevin. Fuck off, Kevin the ghost."
I don't know. I was looking through the rest of the article to see if there was
Too
any
many
explanation of where.
It sounds like where did it say that the article was from?
This took place. Says Northwest. Says a Northern Territory woman. I don't know if that means this is Canadian.
Canada. I guess it's Canadian.
Maybe.
Sounds like somebody enjoys drugs. Okay, I guess we should move on to the next round then.
Yes, we should move on to the next round.
This episode's definitely going to be titled Kevin the Horny Ghost.
Kevin the Horny Ghost. The next round is sort of a musical round. For this next round, I have a series of 3 articles. These 3 articles are headlines that the author of the headline apparently loves wordplay, but also loves bands from like the 80s and wanted to express his love for hair metal bands in headline form. So all of the following 3 headlines are headlines about something news related, where the author of the article has fashioned their news article headline out of song lyrics. Do you guys want me to should I sing them in the tone of the song that they're from, or do you want me to just read them so that you guys can try and guess what they are?
I think reading them.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, how about this? I'll read them, and then if you guys can figure out what song they are parodying, you can earn bonus pigeon points.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right, number 1. Is this the rail price?
Oh, I already know that.
Is this just fantasy? Caught up in land buys, no escape from bureaucracy.
Right.
That's Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
That is Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody, morphed into an article about presumably railroad prices.
Okay.
Number 2. None of these are going to be particularly hard to figure out. Number 2. Just an Auckland girl arrested last night for breeding squirrels. She had 200 in her suburban home and no permits.
That one doesn't even really fit that well.
It does if you like. I feel like if you were to like sing it in the tune, right? Yeah. I feel like as long as if you were to be like, let's see, just an Auckland girl arrested last night for breeding squirrels. She had 200 in her suburban home and no permits. It works.
That would
It's
get
a
copyright strike.
Yeah. Now we've been demonetized. So that's the second one. And I think that is there's no surprise there that is Don't Stop Believing by Journey. And the third one, Whoa. So that's WOAH. Whoa.
Definitely Bon Jovi.
Yep. They're halfway there. Whoa. Living on welfare. Those are your 3 options.
Okay.
I like that one.
One of them is
Whoa.
real. 2 of them I made up.
I don't want any of them to be real.
Yeah. Can you read them one more time?
Yes. So the first one I read was, is this the rail price? Is this just fantasy? Caught up in land buys, no escape from bureaucracy. The second one was, just an Auckland girl arrested last night for breeding squirrels. She had 200 in her suburban home and no permits. And then the third one was, whoa, they're halfway there. Whoa, living on welfare.
I have my answer.
Okay,
I think
Russell.
I do too.
All right, what is your pick for the real one?
I'm gonna go with the Don't Stop Believing one for the same logic that screwed me on the last one, which is I don't think you would use Auckland as a place.
Okay, so you guys are both voting for Journey's Don't Stop Believing as
It screwed me last time.
Auckland squirrel breeding.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, you guys are 0 for 2.
Oh man.
Was it one?
The real headline was, is this the rail price? Is this just fantasy? Caught up in land buys, no escape from bureaucracy. I thought you guys were going to get that one.
That was my second
because that was the most boring of the 3, and like the other 2 were clearly ones that I made up because I thought they were funny.
See, I thought that one was so complicated that you thought of that one.
Maybe. I see that I was playing psychological warfare.
Yeah, I thought that was too complicated for you to come up with.
Okay, 0 for 2.
I think
so
you used
far,
the word land buys.
I didn't use the word land buys. That was the real headline.
Oh, yeah. That was my, I don't know. My own logic is working against me here.
Yeah.
Your Russell's logic is that I couldn't possibly fathom of a location somewhere on the planet Earth that isn't like within an 8-mile radius of where I live.
Well, I also didn't know if you knew like about permitting for wildlife, and like you shouldn't be keeping squirrels.
Oh well.
This is just a plug for not keeping wildlife in your home.
It was more the fact that one seemed like it had the one that I picked. It seemed like it had the least effort put into it, which is what I felt some shitty journalist would have done. Would like have half-assed come up with some.
I would like to say that I am very proud of Whoa, they're halfway there.
Yeah,
Whoa, living on welfare.
I personally like that one.
I'm quite proud of myself.
I thought that would be in poor taste if it were actually a real.
Somebody call Weird Al. He's gonna make that. Now.
Yeah, we get Weird Al on the phone. Tell him we've got his new hit single.
Tune in next week to the Unstoppable Pigeon Podcast, and we have special guest Weird Al.
Special guest Weird Al. We gave him the rights to Living on Welfare in exchange for appearing on our our podcast.
A song we do not own.
That's yep.
A parody of a song we do not own. Sure, Weird Al, you could totally parody John Bon Jovi's.
I like the thought that Weird Al, after a decades-long career parodying music and being extremely successful at it, is not already an expert on the ins and outs of copyright law. Anyway, here's our third option, our third series of news articles. So you guys are either going to get this immediately, or just have to completely take a shot in the dark as, well, let me just read them to you. Option number 1, headline number 1. I was assaulted with a lamb shank. I was assaulted.
What is a lamb shank?
A lamb shank. It's like a food. It's like a food item.
Oh, okay.
I was assaulted with a lamb shank. Either that, or it is a prison yard gang of young sheep that have fashioned various barnyard items into very sharp stabbing devices.
Lamb shank, good band name.
Lamb shank.
That kind of sounds like Rammstein.
When
Rammstein sheep parody, lamb shank.
Yeah. When Lamb Chop grew up and went through her rebellious phase, she became known as Lamb Shank.
Yeah. After Lamb Chop went to prison.
Lamb Chop died all of. Was Lamb Chop a girl or a boy?
That's what I was gonna say. I thought Lamb Chop was a boy.
Lamb Chop was voiced by puppeteered by a lady. I don't know if Lamb Chop has girly eyelashes. So
I always assumed Lamb Chop was a female.
Let me Google it.
I think
read the articles.
You Google that. I'll read the next article headlines.
What gender was Lamb Chop?
So I was assaulted by a lamb shank. I was paralyzed by a pork chop. That's number 2. And number 3, I was racially profiled by a rack of ribs. If you need to hear them again,
I think I know which
one so
is true.
In describing Lamb Chop, Shari is a longtime friend and companion. Kogan stated that its gender was never determined. Lamb Chop mostly and pathetically was and is and always will be a girl. So I guess people just assumed Lamb Chop was a girl, even though it was never stated. And that concludes our portion of Lamb Chop Facts.
This week's edition of Lamb Chop Facts brought to you by Squarespace.
A company which we
are not sponsored by, but we are. They can give us money if they would like to. All right. Well, I mean, I dig it. Lamb Chop can be gender neutral if Lamb Chop wants to. Lamb Chop can just live Lamb Chop's best life. This has been a public service announcement. Please refrain from using gender-specific pronouns when referring to Lamb Chop in all of your day-to-day conversations.
Lamb Chop was very progressive. Was very publicly gender fluid before it was more
recognized.
Common.
Really,
yeah.
probably.
Okay, well, you guys have
Lamb Chop, gender fluid icon.
Yep. You're 0 for 2. So far, Kevin is the only one with any points during this episode of You News,
Kevin,
You Lose.
the horny's kind of not horny goes.
So you have, I was assaulted with a lamb shank, I was paralyzed by a pork chop, and I was racially profiled by a rack of ribs, which is the true
what I'm going with.
Headline.
And I can tell you after I say which one I'm going with, or after you reveal the answer. I'll see why I think this is right.
All right.
Okay. Are you ready, Russell?
Yeah, I guess, but you go first.
Okay, I think number 2 is correct.
Number 2 is I was paralyzed by a pork chop.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is your vote for the true.
I kind of think it's that, but I'm gonna split the difference. I want to go with mainly because I want it to be this one. I want it to be racially profiled by a rack of ribs.
Okay. Why?
I feel like that could easily be like. Somebody saw an advertisement for ribs that was, like, vaguely racist to maybe African Americans or somebody, and somebody in the article headline to try and get a catchy title was I was racially profiled by a rack of ribs.
I mean,
ribs specifically.
I guess that's. It almost seems...
Unless there's just a rack of ribs walking around calling people the N-word. Who knows?
Well, I guess that's possible. All right, so Russell says I was racially profiled by a rack of ribs. Emily says I was paralyzed by a pork chop.
What was correct?
Do you want to say why you think pork chop is correct?
No, tell me which one was correct.
Okay. So the correct answer is in fact Number 2, I was paralyzed by a pork chop, making Emily the winner of the pigeon points.
I thought that sounded the most likely, but I wanted it to be the racially
She gets
profiling.
1 pigeon point for herself, and she steals that one back from Kevin, the masturbating ghost, or whatever it was.
Kevin, the masturbating, the horny ghost.
I would like to wear a Kevin the masturbating ghost T-shirt.
Just make it a white shirt.
Which, yeah, any shirt is really. If you just have a blank shirt, any shirt can be a Kevin the masturbating
or
ghost. Or
get like
T-shirt.
a black shirt with like a bunch of spilled white paint on it or something.
Okay, why
So
were
bad.
you so sure that I was paralyzed by a pork chop? Is the real answer.
Well, let me ask you this: is the article about trichinella?
I don't know. I did
know.
not read the article. I just found a picture of a newspaper, and I thought it would be funnier to come into this with just zero context of what I was paralyzed with a pork chop meant. Because my immediate assumption is
I got hit in
like
the spine with a pork chop.
pork chop,
Like
nunchucks,
shurikened in the
Just-
spine by a pork
just
chop.
like a dramatic nobody puts baby in a corner, $1 million baby sort of scenario where someone is in a street fight of some sort and is knocked over, and they do fall onto a just a stray pork chop that happens to be on the street, and it breaks their spine and paralyzes them. But you apparently have a medical, a well-informed medical opinion about why someone was paralyzed by a pork chop.
Undercooked pork can carry numerous things. My immediate thought was trichinella. It could also be listeria. It just made sense because there's multiple things that could be happening there with that undercooked pork.
Okay.
If that's in fact what it was.
Health and safety portion of the Pigeon Podcast, where we encourage you to thoroughly cook your pork, or you could end up paralyzed by a pork chop. Thank you.
This is my plug for not eating undercooked meat.
Boy.
That was my NPR voice. What'd you think?
That's good. I liked it. I feel like every.
you gotta. Can you like find that article now? Because I
mean,
need to know.
I can. If you guys want to vamp for a minute while I search out this article.
What was that one not interesting enough? Like you had Kevin's article saved.
While you're looking for that article, why don't we play another round of Encyclopedia Nerdtanica with Emily?
We can do that. I do want to defend myself before we get onto that, as a comment was just made that I take offense to. Insinuating that when you come across 2 headlines and one of them is I was paralyzed by a pork chop and the other one is about Kevin the masturbating ghost, one of them is not clearly more interesting to look into.
Well, I would have assumed that you would have saved all of the true ones so that you could read them, but
Yeah.
I thought I would change it up. If you will notice, I didn't have an article for the song-related headline ones
That's true.
either in this.
okay. All right. So we'll do this. Okay, so welcome to another installment of Encyclopedia Nerdtanica with Emily, where the part of the show where we ask Dr. Emily some nerdy bullshit, and then she has to define it.
Okay.
So this week's vocabulary word, I think it's either going to be very easy to kind of figure out what it is, or completely stumping. We'll find out. Okay, so. This week's word, or words, multiple words, this week's vocabulary is, what is a Pan-galactic Gargle-blaster?
So Pan-galactic.
Yes, Pan-galactic Gargle-blaster.
So it spans the entire galaxy.
So we're going over the very literal sort of etymological breakdown of the phrase here for tonight's definition. That's the route you're taking here.
And what I'm going to say is that this is a device you can use when you need to like catch the attention of an entire galaxy. It's basically like a megaphone, but it just creates like gargly noises.
Okay.
And like the entire galaxy is able to hear it.
So it's sort of like when you speak into this, it kind of gargles, but the gargling is then to what all the creatures in the galaxy's ears. It sounds like their language. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, or maybe it's more like a blowhorn than it's more like a blowhorn than
What's the
anything.
difference between a blowhorn and a megaphone?
Like a megaphone you talk into, right?
Okay. The
But
blowhorn
like
is just
this
like a
just
noise.
like this is just like a noise device that like blasts gargling noises. So it allows the authorities to get the attention of everyone in the galaxy at once.
As the authorities. Okay, so it's like
Yeah.
space police
Yeah.
putting out wanted ads.
And rather than start by delivering like a coherent message, they just like they preface it with just a bunch of like
yeah, to get everybody's attention,
it's like garbage.
To get everybody's attention, they're just like yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, they can't just like immediately start off like with whatever message it is they want to get across, because what if someone's not paying attention? They're gonna miss part of the message.
Right.
I think that's
noises.
If I could probably pick one thing from like grade school that I miss the most in my adult life, it is definitely the when the principal would have to make morning announcements, and they didn't want anybody to miss whose birthday it was this week. So they would start their morning announcements by just going into the microphone for a solid 15 seconds, just to make sure everybody was really paying attention before they started reading off the winner of the intramural dodgeball tournament.
Okay, now that we have our definite, what do you think this is from?
Well, I feel like it's got to be space related.
Okay.
Yes, Pan-galactic would probably give you the...
And the extent of my knowledge of space would be either Star Trek or Star Wars.
Okay.
You're going to have a hard time with this bit going forward into future weeks, if those are the only two sci-fi franchises that you're aware of.
Can you give me like a multiple choice?
I'll give you...
Do I know any other space realms?
I'll give you a better hint.
Okay.
I'll give you the medium of what this is from. This is from literature.
I actually thought you might know what this is when he said.
I also thought she might know what this is.
This is a thing that is probably within like the realms of.
Well, we've got her definition.
Franchises.
So let's not give her too much. So
no. I was just gonna say it is a thing that I feel like
she could have come in contact with.
Expands beyond the realm of like nerd and pop culture stuff.
Yeah, definitely upwards of 42 people know about this.
Well, then it's got to be like Marvel or DC or like comic related.
Are they Is that literature? I guess it's literature to some people.
Like comic books? So it's not comic books.
Yeah, when I describe literature, I
Oh.
specifically mean, not prose novels.
Doctor Who's not literature, right? Was Doctor Who books ever?
Was Doctor
Who books?
That's another T-shirt I want. Was Doctor
Who books? I will give you there are Doctor Who books, but Doctor Who is primarily a TV show.
Okay.
Just like Star Trek is a TV show, but has a lot of books.
Oh, okay.
This started out in literature.
It has to do with space? Matt, do I know it?
You could just make something up.
I don't know. We might find out that you know it when we tell you what it is, but I don't know.
I don't know.
What? Okay, so what do you think is the title of the book that the Pan-galactic Gargle-blaster comes from? Just give me that. Doesn't have just whatever you think it is. Doesn't have to be a real title.
Pan-galactic Gargle-blaster?
Yes.
I don't even know. It would be like Evil Space Authority or something.
Evil Space Authority. Okay.
Like mad spacemen.
Evil Space Authority. Subtitle: Mad Spacemen.
I don't think that it's like. I don't think that it's.
I want to give
a
her
friendly civilization that this device exists in.
Well, the point of the show is not really for her supposed to be able to figure it out. So
I guess that's true. I was going to give her one more hint.
I did give us very, very subtle hint that some nerd listening to this at some point will go, huh?
The only other hint that I think might actually help you, he did say it's from a book, and it is from a book, and that is the original source. And I don't know that I would have thought that you would have read the book. Possible that you might have, but
me?
Yeah. I mean, as I said, it is something that I do feel like sort of transcends the genre a little bit.
See, I guess
it has been made into a movie, and I think it is more likely that you might have seen the movie of this.
Like The Matrix? I don't know.
Yep, it's from the Matrix. The original, the sacred text of which Matrix are based on the books. The
Oh
Matrix.
yeah, the
Okay.
Matrix wasn't a book, right?
Okay. So, the Pan-galactic Gargle-blaster
The
is
cone
from...
heads.
No.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
It's from the
Dan
Coneheads.
Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd
created it.
invented
Dan
the
Aykroyd
Pan-galactic
made
Gargle-blaster.
Crystal Skull Vodka and the Pan-galactic Gargle-blaster.
The Pan-galactic Gargle-blaster is made by mixing.
Oh, what was
Crystal
that?
Skull.
30 Rock. No, not 30
You're
Rock.
thinking about Third
Third
Rock
Rock
from the
from the
Sun.
Sun.
30
With,
Rock from the... What was it?
Third Rock from the Sun.
Third Rock from
Third
the
Rock
Starring
from the
John
Sun,
Lithgow.
starring John Lithgow, where Joseph Gordon-Levitt got his start.
I'm just
Actually,
gonna start, like,
I recently
yelling out
watched.
bass
I recently watched Angels in the Outfield, the one we watched as a kid,
Yeah.
and realized that the kid in that is Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Is it really?
He's the main kid. Yeah.
You're
realize that.
you're so distracted by the performance of Doc Brown in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, the Pan-galactic Gargle-blaster is from the novel, the first installment, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh.
The Pan-galactic Gargle-blaster was invented by Zaphod Beeblebrox, who is one of the main characters of the novel. It is a fictional cocktail. So the series describes the drink as the alcoholic equivalent of a mugging. Expensive and bad for the head. And it states that the effect of one is like having your brain smashed out by a slice of lemon wrapped around a large gold brick.
Interesting.
You should never drink more than 2 Pan-galactic Gargle-blasters unless you are a 30-ton mega elephant with bronchial pneumonia.
Yes. It is made by taking the juice from one bottle of Old Jank Spirit, pour it into 1 measure of water from the seas of Sagittarius 5, allow 3 cubes of Curitan Mega Gin to melt into the mixture, parentheses, it must be properly iced or the benzene is lost. Allow 4 liters of Phalian marsh gas to bubble through it, in memory of all those happy hikers who have died of the pleasure in the marshes of Philibia. Over the back of a silver spoon, float a measure of... There's a lot of words in here. Qualactin, hypermint, extract, redolent, all of the heady odors of the dark quintilline zones. Drop into a tooth of an Algonian sting tar. Watch it dissolve, spraying the fires of Angolia suns deep into the heart of the drink. Sprinkle Zamaphore and olive. Drink, but very, very carefully.
So as we were having this discussion about this, the Pan-galactic Gargle-blaster, I did get curious because I assumed there's a bunch of chumps on the internet have made
a real one
for this. Let me tell you, the recipe
It
for the
sounds
Pan-galactic the Pan-galactic Gargle-blaster recipe that I found online is literally just 6 different types of alcohol,
Ooh.
ice cubes, and a slice of lemon.
Well, it is supposed to fuck you up beyond all
Yeah.
belief, so I guess that makes sense.
Yes, there are 8 ingredients. 6 of them are alcohol. 1 of them is ice cubes, and the last one is a slice of lemon.
Oh my god, that was
Also,
funny.
the subtle hint that I gave was earlier I said definitely more than 42 people know about this.
Yeah.
And that is a reference to in the end of that first book, they ask the ultimate computer what is the meaning of life, and it answers 42.
Okay.
That's a very famous sci-fi thing that you know.
Well,
I think
I
this
have
was our
not-
most successful one because that was definitely the most interesting answer.
I haven't read that book, and I have not seen the movie, but I have heard of it.
Definitely a better book than movie. There's also like a whole bunch more books,
Just a
Okay.
but they're really short.
quick check-in here. I was
Did you find that article?
I was paralyzed by a pork chop. Father of 2 left 46. Father of 2, 46 left paralyzed after contracting listeria meningitis from an undercooked pork chop.
Listeria.
So
listeria.
we took a fun, silly bit that we did, and we've made it sad.
So
Great.
Way less interesting. I still like to think that it was some sort of like pork chop vigilante who like boomeranged it into somebody's spine.
In my heart and in my mind, Kevin the masturbating ghost snuck into somebody's house and beamed them with a pork chop.
Left the pork chop in their bed and they slept on it weird, paralyzing them.
Okay, what do you got for us, Emily? Anything tonight?
I think we've run out of time.
Yeah, I suppose we have run out of time. So Emily tonight is the Boy, this would be funnier if I could remember any names of anything. She's the Lindsay Buckingham of tonight's episode, as we've reached the end here. We'll unfortunately not have time to get to Emily's.
Is it actually an hour with all the stuff we're going to have to cut out?
Probably not, but we'll.
I was gonna say I have some more stuff if we want to do a little more.
I guess we could do one more thing.
Well, the problem is that one of us has to start a new job tomorrow.
Oh, that's true.
So, I think that person gets to call the shots.
That person is me, and I say we go forever.
Then I suppose we have run out of time on this week's episode, and we will bid you all farewell, good night, and remember, closing and locking your bedroom door will prevent horny ghosts from trying to molest you in the middle of the night. This has been.
Should we do
a
teaser for next episode?
Sure. What do you got? Well, you got a
Okay.
teaser for us.
Yeah, so we can start off with my segment next week.
Okay.
And that I will be teaching you gentlemen the 5 steps to getting the best butt selfie, aka the best belfie.
Okay, right off the top of my head, lift, separation, cupping.
Wait a minute.
Tone,
They said the best butt selfie, I assume,
and angle.
does not involve taking a direct photograph of your anus, which is what you get if the first 2 steps are lift and separate. Jesus Christ!
I was going to say, Russell, you are not hitting any of these accurately.
Well, join us next week as we learn
Angle
about
is definitely one of them.
the best belfie that you can take, and then join us.
I guess lift and separate
Join
is
us
boom.
1 hour after next week's episode on Instagram, where you can see pictures of our exposed anus.
I am not taking part in that. I am a professional.
Oh goodness!
That's what's stopping you. The fact that you're a professional.
Thank you for.
Put a stethoscope on.
I'm trying to end this goddamn show. You fucks!
God.
Shut up. Thank you for joining us. Remember to save up those pigeon points, and we will see you next time. Good night.